I believe in the power of storytelling. Storytelling is one of the most powerful means, in the world, because when the story is told, you can see the person, you can see the story, you can see the message. It's all in together, and you can write it if you need to. So for me, it's one of the best tools. My name is Bouba. I live in Boston with my wife, Desiree, and our 3 boys. I'm living with left ventricular non-compaction cardiomyopathy, which led to dilated cardiomyopathy. I was born in Senegal. I grew up in Mali. Studied in South Africa and started working there. And during that time, I was diagnosed with my heart condition. I was diagnosed in 2012 when I was 26. How I was diagnosed is that I went through a month of what felt like flu symptoms. So shortness of breath, there was like a weight on my chest, a sharp weight. So at some point I was like, this is serious. This might be something else. So I went to the ER, and then they did some x-rays and noticed that my heart was bigger than normal. And that's when I was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy. When this happened, not wearing myself was very tough. I think it was I would say even traumatic at the time, because it was a big shock. It just came, it seems like to come from out of nowhere. I wanted to know, first, what was my life expectancy, more or less. I wanted to know where this was coming from, because in the family, we don't have a history of heart disease. There was nobody else with similar symptoms ever. Then I was also thinking about my mortality in a way that, I was asking myself more existential questions. I started asking myself, what should I spend my time on if it's limited? What should I focus on more? What's important to me? Was not important to me? If I want people to remember me, what would I want them to remember? And, simple things like, what will make me happy? So then fast forward when I got diagnosed, 3 or 4 years after that, I was in California. By that time, I was part of a program called the Young African Leadership Initiative, YALI, and then I was a Mandela Washington Fellow, so which meant that part of the program was for me to go to UC Davis in California for 6 weeks. And then after those 6 weeks, come to Boston for another 6 weeks to work with GE, because my business was in energy savings, energy management, and GE had a unit that was doing similar work. So when I arrived in California, I started having symptoms again. The symptoms were similar to what I had when I was first diagnosed in South Africa. And this time also I was vomiting, so it was a bit more severe than normal. I went to the ER and they admitted me to the hospital, and they had to do the workup again. And they did an MRI and noticed that my heart was dilated. So we assumed it was dilated cardiomyopathy, but this was actually what they call left ventricular non-compaction cardiomyopathy. So the heart muscle really never formed since birth. They put me on a similar treatment to what I was on already in Senegal and in South Africa, but it wasn't getting better. And after a month, they noticed that, I needed a transplant. Because the transplant will take time waiting for the new heart. While I'm waiting for the new heart, I live with the LVAD, which is the left ventricular assist device. Living with heart disease makes me more deliberate about living life. And what it meant for me was I had to kind of be, I guess, deliberate in a sense that I wanted to be, happy. I wanted to be feeling like I was giving a purpose to my life, and I wanted to feel successful. So in this case, for me, it's, I have 3 boys that are really young kids growing, and they take you out of the worries of the world. So we're lucky that they've been healthy, and we've been enjoying that. I have a very strong relationship with my wife, Desiree, so that's been very important for me. I think family is the number 1 part. And then I've been able to be productive at work. I've been able to actually work outside and being active in the community, be it remotely to folks at home or here. All of that is worthwhile if I look at what I've been able to do even these past 5, 6, 7 years. When you get sick, it affects everybody, and everybody, you need support, your support system. In my case, the anchor of my support system is my wife, Desiree. From when we were dating to now being parents of 3 kids. With the boys, they don't see it as abnormal. We play a lot. They treat me like a horsey, or they would jump on me. Sometimes the 3 of them at a time, and the big kids. But they don't. When people ask them not to do that, they'll be like, "Oh, don't worry, daddy is strong. Daddy is super daddy, or daddy is a superhero." And of course, that gets to my head, and I let them get away with it. So when I fell sick, and especially when I moved to Boston, I was far away from everybody else. So first thing was for me to keep everybody up to date. A lot of emails I was receiving. So I figured, okay, let me start with a blog. The name is Heart of a Giant. And that essentially came from, it's like a wordplay between the fact that I have this big heart and I'm 6'8". So when the doctor tells me I have a big heart, I'm like, well, it must be a heart of a giant because, I'm already big. The other part was also a way for me to say thank you to everybody along the way that's been helping me, get better. So it was a way to, say thank you, but also just play on the fact that I have this giant heart inside me. For me, as I think about it, and as I think about why I'm so motivated by it, is that it will be a great legacy to my story. I find myself attracting a lot of good people into this journey, and every moment has been inspiring, and I think it can be the same for other people. My master's degree was in technological innovation. I just believe in it. I believe in the power of innovation, and that's what led me to believing in the power of storytelling. Learning and evolving is important. So for me, as an engineer, I not only appreciate considering problem as a system, but I also appreciate solving the problems at the root. And that's why I'm excited about the way Tenaya is approaching heart disease, because Tenaya is approaching the problem at the genetic level. It's important to support innovation, whether it's in the therapies or the technology. It's important to continue to amplify the stories that we're living, amplifying patient voices. And then it's important to appreciate or support the role of everybody into the health of our community. Healthcare won't get better in isolation, so we need to all contribute to it, and we need to have space for everybody.